now I'm going to introduce our next presenter, which is Sean Sullivan. Sean is a strategic account manager for Total Traffic and Weather Network, a division of iHeartMedia with access to over 2,200 plus iHeart media and affiliate radio stations, reaching 185 million adults 18 and above every month across 200 plus markets in the United States. Sean and the Total Traffic Weather Network are a great friend to CRSW, and we will be helping with the focus. They will be helping with the focus this year to leverage public safety announcements. And with that, I welcome you, Sean, and over to you.
Thank you, Jim, and thank you all for inviting me today to talk about iHeartMedia and specifically the Total Traffic and Weather Network and how we can get your message out for you on radio, broadcast radio, for Crash Responders Safety Week. I am located in the DC, Maryland area, and I know what traffic is all about. Next slide, please, Kevin. Broadcast radio is very key in getting out messages for your agencies for this specific event or this week, the CRSW. And like Jim had mentioned in my introduction, our TTWN Mobility Network reaches adults 18 plus 185 million. This is a network of stations run by iHeartMedia, and we have contracts with other radio groups across the whole United States to provide them their traffic and weather data or traffic and weather reports. And we'll talk about how it's a couple different elements. But next slide, please. And of course, along with traffic comes weather. I'm in the DC area, as I said, and I'm getting all kinds of alerts today about impending thunderstorms coming in from the west. This happens a lot in the DC area. And of course, because we're mid-Atlantic, we often get ice storms or snowstorms. But weather is very important to our radio listeners, and they need to know what their commute's going to be like if they can make it to their child's practice or pick them up from school. So next slide, please. And the way that TTWN works, it is an adjacency to those reports, to the content. We can reach 90% of any specific demo in any given market. We can also change out the copy or the messaging weekly, daily, depending on weather conditions. We can help you out with that. But we are there to impact consumers when their behavioral decisions are being made. And next slide, Kevin. So how that works is, our advertisers can go local for just the DC area. They can do the whole East Coast, or they could do a national plan if it's an advertiser that wants to get their name out there throughout the whole United States. These obviously run during the day when people are commuting, because our traffic and weather reports are really key to those in-car listeners to the radio stations. It involves three separate items. The first one is a billboard, which identifies the business, or in this case, an agency, for a PSA announcement. And then, of course, the sequence of these three items vary depending on the station or perhaps even the DJ. But it is the billboard, it is the client ad copy or message, and then, of course, the actual report, which are comprised by our local and talent traffic reporters, weather reporters, and even news. We can go on to the next slide, please. This is just a snapshot of where TTWN has sponsorship networks. As you can see on the far right, we have a very large network in the Washington, D.C. area. But even just above that, in Virginia, we have little towns like Fredericksburg, Richmond, Norfolk on the East Coast, Winchester, Roanoke. Going over towards the middle of the slide there, in the Maryland area, we have Baltimore, Hagerstown, Salisbury, Frederick, Maryland. And of course, if you were to go all the way to the right, California, look how many markets we have a network in. Just to give you a little bit of background, there was a company years ago named Metro Networks that they were responsible for compiling traffic and weather reports and working with the radio stations across the whole United States to provide them those reports. And then the sales staff in those radio stations could, of course, sell those reports. But this is just a snapshot of where and how big TTWN is. You can move on to the next slide, please. But I'm here to help you with some ideas on public service announcements. Obviously, radio stations are licensed to operate in the public interest, and we do have availability for PSAs, public service programming, or public service announcements. There, we work with obviously the iHeart stations because my division is owned by iHeart, but we also have access to other radio companies. In particular, I'll give an example. The DC market, we have WTOP, which is the #1 news station in the whole United States. It's owned and operated by Hubbard Broadcasting. We are under contract with them to provide their traffic and weather data or reports. And we can also put some PSAs on there. This is going to benefit for the state departments, motor vehicle, public safety agencies. And then, of course, we can talk about the future if you want to continue on with that messaging outside of the CRSW week. Next slide, please. Oh, I'm sorry, Kevin, if you would like to play the audio in this slide.
This
This is
report
an
is sponsored
example
by the
of one
Virginia
of the clients.
DMV. Please drive sober or get pulled over.
395 northbound slows from the Beltway to Duke Street. That's where we have the work crews blocking the left lane. Slow again from Boundary Channel across the 14th Street Bridge. In town, 50 is jammed coming out of Chevrolet to merge onto inbound New York Avenue for the crash before South Dakota Avenue. I'm Jamie Witten. That's your traffic up to the minute.
Are you old enough to drink? Then act like it. Don't risk a DUI or worse. Always get a safe ride home. And never drink and drive. Brought to you by the Virginia Department of Motor Vehicles. Learn more at actlikeit.org. Don't drink and drive, Virginia.
Weather.
Thank you, Kevin, for playing. Just as you heard, that is an example of a TTWN sponsorship. The Virginia Department of Transportation, or Motor Vehicles, excuse me, is a very large client of mine, and they use TTWN across the whole state in the various markets that I showed earlier on the previous slide, and they want to get that messaging out to our listeners. They believe that the adjacency and the value of being next to traffic and weather reports is very important. Next slide, Kevin. So you heard in that previous audio how there were the opening billboard and then the traffic report and then the client spot. This slide shares with you some example specs. We use 10-second messaging and 15-second messaging in English and or in Spanish. And you would want to make it a smooth, easy read for the anchor, because some of those 10-second spots are actually live read. So as our traffic and weather anchor or reporter is speaking the report or the data, then they will voice the client message afterwards. Next slide, please. These are a 10-second and a 15-second sample script, which can be used for the Crash Responder Safety Week. These can be edited to include your name at the end. But basically, obviously, the previous slide showed the number of syllables available in a 10 and a 15, but we can work with you on any sort of scripts. And as a reminder, you are very welcome to have weather-related scripts or spots available for us to use. And next slide, please. So one of the questions that I think you might have is, well, who are our local radio stations? You listen to them, but you probably don't know the call letters. You may know the frequency, the dial number, but you don't know what is their call letters. So there is a website, radio-locator.com. It's free. It is owned and operated by a company by the name of Theodric Technologies. Thank you, Vishali. Radio Locator is a way for you to either search by your city or zip code. In this case, I know that WTOP is a prominent DC station. So I typed in WTOP as the call letters. It brings up an information page on WTOP, their website, their address, their phone numbers, several other links, how you can listen to it online. But one of the things that I wanted to point out is view the radio signal coverage map. And when you click on that link that I've highlighted there with a red oval, you'll see how big the radio signal reaches outside of where the radio tower is located. Just wanted you all to know that that website is available. Feel free to always reach out to me, and I can help you come up with more information for any specific target area. Next slide, please. So I just wanted to make sure that we will let you know that we will work with you and become an ally in action for CRSW. We would want to work a little bit in advance so that we can see how much inventory is available. These are public service announcements. There are no costs associated with that. But we are here and will help identify radio stations and or markets or areas that are near your state or agency. Let's see, next slide. Oh, by the way, we will record the PSAs for you and help you come up with scripts. That's it for me. Thank you very much for allowing me to attend and talk about Total Traffic Weather Network. And back to you, Jim.
There's a question here, Kevin. The gentleman, I believe it's Bo Badgett, that had his hand up now for a while. Can you open his mic and maybe Bo can speak up? Please tell us who you're with, Bo, and ask your question. Or does he have to do it?
Jim, I'm happy to step in until Bo gets in. So I think one question was specifically for the FHWA team. Can mayors of cities have state roads post proclamations for CRSW? And I don't know if you want to answer that or you want me to field that answer.
You go right ahead.
Yeah, so if there's a mayor that you're working with that is able to issue a proclamation, we would encourage that office of the mayor to become a CRSW ally in action, to post that proclamation through that QR code or that link. But if they don't have the bandwidth to do so, you're welcome to do so on their behalf. So you could fill out that form and upload that proclamation from that mayor, that county executive. And, either way works, whichever is easier for that organization. And then there was also a question by Tony Casella, when will the decision be made for the 2025 theme? And that will be announced during the next all states planning webinar taking place in August. I believe it's August 13th at 3 p.m. And it is the second Wednesday of the month. So that is the answer to that. There are a couple of open questions for Tina as well as for Sean. So I don't know if you want to cover those first and then we can do the hand raising.
Well, being that you know where these questions are,
Sure, happy to ask a couple if you'd
continue
like.
on, Vishali.
Absolutely. So the next question I'm going to bring up is for Tina. There were a couple of questions. So I think the most important is how did you get all of these agencies to get involved and to say yes? And how did you choose the location? Was it for media accessibility, public accessibility, responder accessibility? And can you duplicate this in Western Maryland or elsewhere? Tina, if you want to get on video, that would be great.
Sure. So good question. So, well, we chose, I'll go for first the location because we looked at a few different ones, but the idea was we wanted to have folks be able to come to see where it all started. So, how it works. So, that is the home of our chart program. And we thought that could help make that connection for our chart program. And if they could see, again, they could see all the roads come inside, take the tour, and just to make that connection and say, oh, I know that road. I travel that road every day. And then we just thought it could just making those connections and that might change behaviors. It may not, but what we have to do what we could try, those simple, making those little bit of connections could maybe change behavior. And then we knew also we needed a place that was large. Well, then we decided who we're going to have. So we knew we wanted to reach out to those local fire and police. And, we reached out and so receptive because they know how important it is. And they do attend those touch a truck events. And they say, how the community supports them. And they just knew it's important to get the message out and to make those connections. So they were very receptive about participating. And then when we started looking, we knew we needed to have plenty of space for the vehicles to be able to be spread out safely because we know it needed to be safe. And we needed to know that we need to have parking for all of the vehicles and easy access. So we had them come in one way and exit the other. And we had our safety folks at State Highway look at the plan, make sure it made sense. Also, we had to make sure for the helicopter that they were able to land safely. So their folks had to look at it and to make sure there was enough space around them for the safety to land. So did I answer all of the questions?
Yeah, and how would you make it happen in Western Maryland?
Well, and this is what we're talking about. So, this was the first time, I think it could definitely be duplicated. So we're going to meet again to determine, do we want to do the same one event? Could we do two, maybe regionally? Could we do multiples? Because I really think now that we've done it, we know some things that we could do differently. Maybe instead of stickers, maybe it's more of a stamper that they do and stamp instead of doing the stickers. So we think that could be quicker. So maybe it could be more turnkey. Right now we have customer relations managers across the state for State Highway. So we could probably, make bins and we do all of the, that type of planning. But if they're out in their, Western Maryland, they reach out to their local police and we're local fire and they get them to attend. They just scout out the locations, but we could do the creative of the flyers, the press release, so I think it could be done in other states. So, and we'd be happy to share what we have with you. So it could be more, I think it can be more turnkey. And each year, you learn from what needs to be improved. And that was one of the things that we learned. Stickers. And I remember cutting all these stickers, hours and hours of cutting stickers. Should have bought stampers, and you learn. So I think it definitely can be done.
Excellent. And there's a question for Sean Sullivan in that what if iHeartRadio is not in my market. How do I proceed? And is there anything in terms of the cost or charges in terms of these public safety announcements? I don't know if you want to cover those. That was multiple questions I combined into one.
Sure, sure. Thank you. So, excuse me. iHeart definitely has a huge footprint across the whole United States. However, there are markets, in particular, I'll give an example, just south of me in Fredericksburg, Virginia, and Richmond, Virginia. There are no iHeart stations. However, through TTWN, because we provide those other radio companies their traffic and weather reports, we are under contract to be able to utilize the sponsorship of those reports. When it comes to PSAs for CRSW, there is no cost associated with it. It does all depend on whether we have available inventory, and we can definitely schedule something for you across the variety of formats in the market. And then the last thing I want to just talk about is towards the end of my slides, there was that radio-locator.com slide that talked about how you can find out exactly what radio stations are within your area. Definitely do a search. If you need me to help you in finding out what are the best stations in the markets, please reach out to me. Happy to help.
Excellent. Any questions that weren't covered, please ask them. I think we've covered all of the audience-based questions. So Jim, turn it back to
Yeah,
you.
thanks. Thanks, Vishali. And I see Mr. Badgett, I guess, logged off. And I know Dr. Harden, James Harden, had his hand up as well, I believe, but no longer does. So I apologize to both of them for not.
No, he actually, he actually said he was accidentally had his hand up. So no question additional to what he already submitted.
Okay,
So we're good. We're
that
good.
happens to the best of us. So
Yes,
anyway, no, thanks, Vishali. And
absolutely.
let's see.
Next slide.
We're 28 minutes from closure, correct?
Yeah, we try to finish by 4:15, 4 to 4:15, but we do
Well,
have a few more things to cover.
yeah,
But yes,
exactly. So I just want to thank Tina and Sean for sharing and their great presentations and information that I'm sure is helpful to our audience. And we'll hopefully continue to collaborate with both of them moving forward. I'm going to go right into the roll call, Vishali.
sounds great.
So the next slide, I believe, is all the states. And this is going to be quick. I know there's some of you that will report. I'm going to do this in clusters, if you will. I'm not going to go state by state. So Alabama to Iowa. Does anybody want to share what their plans are, if any, at this point? So that's Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, DC, Florida, Georgia, Hawaii, Idaho, Illinois, Indiana, and Iowa. Any takers? Anybody want to share what you're planning? Anything new for the 10-year anniversary of CRSW? Okay. I'm going to move then to the second group. Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan. Obviously, we know what Maryland's doing. And I saw Dawn from Michigan. Dawn, do you want to chime in? Anything? Okay, if not, Tony Casella, I heard Vishali mentioned Tony from Minnesota. Okay, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, Nevada, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New Mexico. Anything to share from any of you?
And it
Okay,
looks like Kevin Maxwell from Nevada said they are gearing up and hoping to be ready to share in August. So that sounds great.
okay.
And other states, if you're on the call and, you know, not quite ready today, but want to share in August, do text like Kevin has done in the chat so that we'll know and, you know, connect with you for next webinar.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So next group is New York, North Carolina, North Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Puerto Rico, Rhode Island, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Vermont, Virginia, Washington State, West Virginia, Wisconsin, Wyoming. Anyone from any state, would you like to share thoughts? Have a question? I see Nadine Olson raised her hand. I don't know if that's by error or can you see if Nadine Olson wrote anything in the chat pod, Vishali?
I'm going to go ahead and try to unmute Nadine just a second. Kevin, have you unmuted? There we go. Go for it, Nadine.
Good afternoon. I just wanted to let everyone know that this year we plan to try to expand all the county proclamations to the top or to all 72 counties in Wisconsin. And we also want to expand our mayor proclamations to the top 25 cities by population.
Outstanding. Outstanding, Nadine. And I saw Mike Youngbluth on as well. So you guys do phenomenal work every year. So thanks again, Nadine. Alex Leapley, Major Alex Leapley.
Well, I appreciate the promotion, but
I knew you'd like that, Alex.
yeah,
Captain.
yeah. Hey, Utah is going to do. I know some of the UDOT guys from Utah DOT are on, but we work in partnership with them. We'll be doing it again this year. We do media blitzes and press conferences and displays for CRSW. And we'll be doing another governor's proclamation again this year. Most years we try and focus on the 4 hour, what used to be the Sharp 2 training on the Wednesday for responder training day, and we'll do that again this year, hopefully with either a train the trainer course or just regular 4 hour course or both in various locations around the state. So anyway.
Very good. Great to hear your voice, Alex. Thank you.
Thanks.
Let's see. Anyone else? Angela, I'm shocked that you haven't. Well, let me go first to Adam Perez. Can you unmute? There you go. Go ahead, Adam.
Yeah, so Tennessee here. We've been getting a governor's proclamation for the last several years. We'll go for that again. I like the idea of getting the announcements out over the radio. So we'll work with our CRO office and see if we can get that out there. But, you know, we're early on in our plans. I've thoroughly enjoyed today's message. It's given us some good ideas, and hopefully we'll be able to report a little bit more as we move along in one of the next webinars.
Yes, sir. Thank you. And, you know, we're under 5 months away. I think 17, 18 weeks. So when you put it in that respect, you know how time flies. So everybody that's here today and the next round, our next webinar, we've really got to push the envelope to get, especially the proclamations, et cetera, going. So thanks again, Adam. I started to say that Angela Roper from the great state of Arizona usually speaks up, and she did not today. So kind of throwing her under the bus. Angela, you can yell at me. It's okay. Or just
So
chime in.
Jim, it's amazing in the chat, a lot of great input. Minnesota's Christine Hernandez noted they began to create social media posts already, which is wonderful. Owen Hassan from Missouri said the same PSAs and governor's proclamations, etc. What's even better to hear is that New York has created a subcommittee for the steering group to discuss options in addition to social media and proclamation. And Georgia also has a working group underway. And so he'll have something more by the next webinar. Michigan, of course, Dawn said that Michigan will pursue similar CRSW activities, including the proclamation, media release, PSA. So one thing I'm going to try to plug again is we would love for all of you to become allies in action, because you're already champions for CRSW and doing things for states. So make sure that before the next webinar, if you have a moment, complete that ally in action. And one of the things we hope to do is if you upload your organization's logo, we're going to hopefully present that as a part of the national kickoff webinar. So
Very
all
good.
really good stuff.
Yes, for sure. Anyone
Okay.
else?
Am I unmuted?
You are,
You are,
Angela.
Yay! Yay! Hey, did Dr. Harden, is he on here? He was earlier. Did he give his spiel
No,
on?
he did not. He got mad because I guess I didn't get to him in time, and I think he stepped away. But we love Dr. Harden. He's
Well,
a
you know,
leader in the emergency medical services world in your state of Arizona, correct?
yes, and let me tell you, this man has created a spreadsheet that is, I don't know, 2 pages long, and it has every discipline what everybody needs to do. And
Yeah.
it goes through, you know, the DPA, every entity, stakeholder involved. He's got something they can do. Plus, what we've already done, you know, previously, like with the Domino's pizzas,
I
they're
was just going to ask
increasing
you.
this year.
Yeah.
It's like even to more stores. I mean, he's done a phenomenal thing with that, and then I think he's trying to work with, the firehouse subs also.
Uh-huh.
I don't know what else he's been up to. He wasn't on our meeting yesterday, so but we are starting to talk. We are starting. We have been talking about it. So yes, Arizona will definitely be a part. I will still do the proclamation for us, and so we will have that again.
Yeah, so for
we're gonna
those
try
that
and
are
come up with something out of the box. I will tell you, I loved her presentation. Phenomenal. It reminds me of Move Over Day, but it's just like on steroids. So I loved it. I loved it. So fantastic job for her. Okay, I'll be quiet now.
So, Angela, to what Angela spoke to, over the last 2 years in Arizona, they have had little Crash Responder Safety Week flyers stuck to pizza boxes for a major pizza delivery chain, so that anytime a pizza is ordered and delivered, they get the delivery with a flyer that says Crash Responder Safety Week. So to have multiple restaurant venues promoting Crash Responder Safety Week is incredible. And if you want to learn more about how they made it happen, shoot out a quick question or message to Jim, and we'll connect you with the man, the legend, the myth, who has done some really creative things for Crash Responder Safety Week. So thank you, Angela.
You bet.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, Dr. Harden's
Absolutely.
one of a kind. He's a great one to have on your team, but you got to limit his emails. I'll just say that.
Okay. Anybody else here? We're almost at half past the
Yeah,
hour.
we're we're about out of time. So if we want to close, this would be the time to do it. We have one more ask, I think.
Do we have
So
another
next
question in the
slide.
box? Oh, yeah.
No.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
No.
This is upcoming, as you said earlier, Vishali. The
Mhm.
next All States Planning, August 13th. Please join us. And you see there, we're going to have Christopher Flores, social media strategist from Wisconsin DOT. And then our next one in September 10th. And then the big day for CRSW week, the kickoff webinar. So please do join us, and please keep doing great things. All of you are leaders and champions, and we can't do it without you. And boy, on behalf of Federal Highway, US DOT, Tim Program Office, Sharon Cuevas, who's my colleague that's still on, and Dave Johnson, our team leader, Vishali Shah, Kelly Claver, and of course the National Operations Center of Excellence, Kevin Vida, and the executive director. I noticed Nicholas Ramphos was on with us today, the executive director of the NOCO. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time. Stay safe.